Hello, my dear friends. As a boy who has tried different techniques to cope with anxiety, I can assure you that Sadhguru's way is realistic, simple, true. He says letting go doesn't work when it comes to dealing with anxiety. He knows anxiety is much more complicated than a few spiritual terms. I actually smiled when he said, "You have anxiety, try to let it go." Does it go? Even a damn flu doesn't go. Yes or no? Then continued, "So let's not get into these fanciful states of surrendering. These are all words thrown around." Instead, he offers an extremely doable solution, the only solution we actually have. Sadhguru is devoting his whole life to address the range of issues being dealt by millions of individuals on the earth without becoming annoyed to the slightest degree. He connects with n number of people in one go, no matter where he is at the given moment. What's phenomenal about Sadhguru is that he makes himself available to the common people, at least in the form of videos and books. Even your paid doctors may not be that tolerant enough to discuss your sufferings. But this man does. He draws up everything down to the last detail like clarified butter. Here is the collection of 5 videos that Sadhguru spoke at different times and addressed anxiety with its associated problems. Good luck.
Our mind is a tremendous gift where it remembers vividly every experience and every information that comes our way. Well, this can be transformed into a phenomenal imagination, but if you lose control over your imagination, if you lose the discrimination as to what is imagination and what is reality, what is future, what is present and what is past, then your mind will become your greatest enemy. Most human beings are not suffering life, they're just suffering their memory and their imagination. What happened 10 years ago, they still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. This is not about life. This is about lack of control over two most fantastic faculties that human beings have, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. Do not worry about your future. If you do your present well, future will naturally blossom. We can only work with what's on our hands right now. You cannot work with what's on your mind. You can plan for what's on your mind, but you cannot do anything about it. You can only act in the present moment. You can only handle what is there right now.
Those of you too engrossed in your own thoughts and emotions, constantly being maybe on social media or something, I think you must get rid of your phone and take a walk in the forest. If it's not possible every day, at least 1 or 2 days in a month, you might get lost somewhere. Just be in nature, all by yourself, walk, sit, observe. If you pay enough attention, you will see, you will be so enchantingly enamored by every little thing in the existence, because the way a single ant is made is too much for you and your intelligence to grasp exactly how this is made. Those who have not peeled their eyes to the creation get too enamored with their own mental creations, which is their thought, the juicy part being emotion. When your thought and your emotion becomes more important than the Creator's creation, that means you have become a perceptual tragedy. You have not realized the nature of life at all. We know many things, we can do many things, but we do not know anything in its entirety. So this is the nature of the existence. If you pay attention to it, naturally your own thought and emotion will sink to the background. You can still enjoy them, but you know how insignificant it is. So it's very important that if you want to experience the multifarious dimensions of life, you have to be non-serious. You become serious only because you have taken your own existence too seriously, though we exist here for a minuscule amount of time in this cosmos. This is a vast cosmos. The very planetary system, the solar system in which we exist is a speck. In that, planet Earth is a micro speck. In that micro speck, the place you live or the city you live is a super micro speck. In that, you have become a big man or woman, and that's the reason why you're so serious about life. It's a brief amount of time that you have as life. In this, if you take yourself too seriously, you are one big joke. The secret of life is to see everything with a non-serious eye, but to be absolutely involved like a sport. So be a sport for life. If you want to be a sport for life, you have to be able to see that your existence is of consequence for the times in which we live, but not of eternal consequence unless you touch the eternal dimension of who you really are. If your mind took instructions from you, would you create anxiety? No. So don't look for answers elsewhere, elsewhere, elsewhere. It is just that your own physiology and your psychological patterns not taking instructions from you. So you said so many things, I try, whatever these big words are floating all over California particularly, about surrendering to it, about letting it go, about… Not for one person has such a thing worked, ever. Has it, I'm asking you? You have anxiety, try to let it go. Does it go? Even a damn flu doesn't go. Yes or no? Even a simple cold does not go, you say go, does it go? So, let's not get into this fanciful states of surrendering, these are all words thrown around. Nobody knows what is surrender. Because when it happens, you will not know it has happened. You can't do it, I surrendered. How's that possible? So, leaving those things, essentially, as I said, you have not read the user's manual of how this works. We need to pay attention to this. The system is made in such a way, if you hold your hand like this, it'll work one way. If you do like this, it'll work another way. If you do like that, it'll work another way. It's a phenomenal process. If it was a simple thing, we could have just beaten it into shape with hammer and anvil, okay? It's too sophisticated. It's a phenomenally complex machine. One needs to pay a certain level of attention to be able to use it for what it is designed for. Otherwise, it'll get itself messed up. Now, there may be many factors, there may be genetic factors, there may be sociological factors, there may be growing up issues, various things. But do not ascribe your problems to any of those things. The important thing is just this, you are not able to have your mind the way you want it. That's the only problem you have, isn't it? The moment you ascribe it, I'm like this because my father was like that, I'm like this because my grandfather's genetics were not okay, you're finished. Because we can't change those guys now. Yes? You can't choose a different father or a different grandfather now, it's over. But you can transform this. You must understand, still it doesn't matter you have anxiety disorder. Still, if you put a piece of carrot, there is an intelligence here which can transform a carrot into a human being. That means every day a new body is being manufactured within you, isn't it? In parts, a new human being is manufactured every day. When the very source of creation is functioning within you and a new human being is constantly being created, if you take little charge of that, you can create an entire new physiological and psychological process. This happened to us some time ago. Last year, we were trekking in Tibet. I was in a tent. I was doing some work and Another person was cutting an apple. You know, one of these porcelain knives these days. So the other person around says to this person, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." It irritates me a bit. I look like this because he's a grown man. If it's a child, it's different. Then we have to watch how he uses the knife. It's a full-grown man, and a knife is supposed to be sharp. If it's not sharp, why do you call it a knife? So I ignored it and continued to work. In another 2 minutes, she says again, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." I said, "Come on, he's a full-grown man, leave him alone, he knows how to use this knife. This stupid knife can't he handle? It's not some earth-moving machinery or spacecraft or something that he doesn't know how to handle. It's a knife." She says, "No, Sadhguru, it's a very sharp knife." All right. And I continue what I'm doing. In another 2 minutes, she whispers to him, "Please be careful, very sharp." And in another 2 minutes, he cuts his finger. Then I give up, okay. This is all that's happening. This is all that's happening with life. You have an intellect for which you don't have a stable enough platform. Or in other words, you have a sharp knife, a very sharp knife in a very sharp knife in your hand, but your hand is not steady. Please see, it's your own mind which is causing all this pain, isn't it? Yes or no? So you have a very sharp knife, the sharper it is, the more you cut yourself. So we don't have to blunt the knife, we just have to have a steady hand, isn't it? Nothing has been done about that. People are trying to blunt the knife with all these sedatives and nonsense. What you take is to blunt the knife. Blunting the knife is not the answer, because if you lower the possibilities of who you are, everything will be okay. If you remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful. Because it takes some brain to cause anxiety. If we really remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful and you may even be happy, actually. Nothing bothers you. It'll be okay. All right? But that's not what we're looking for. What a human being is looking for is to become limitless in some way. And if this has to happen, you have to create a steady platform. Knife need not be taken away, knife need not be blunted. Only thing is, hand needs to be steadied, isn't it? No process to do that. What inner engineering means, what yoga means is just this. When I say yoga, being in California, don't imagine all those impossible postures. Yoga does not mean postures, yoga means union, okay? The word yoga literally means union. This is the first form of union. Your right and left. This is called as Pingala and Ida in yoga, the masculine and the feminine within you. Just put it together, just do the simple sadhana, all of you. If you can't do any other yoga, this much you can do, isn't it? What you do is something that concerns your life. It could be the sun coming up. Sun is coming up. Without sun coming up, you wouldn't exist on this planet, isn't it? The warmth of life is going on within you only because the sun comes up. Without the tree exhaling oxygen and you exhaling in carbon dioxide for it and this exchange happening, you wouldn't be alive, isn't it? Like this, look at it, the food that you eat, the sun, the earth that you walk upon, air that you breathe, water that you drink, people who live around you, whatever, you choose anyone. Just do this, put your right and left together perfectly, not like this, not like this, perfectly, okay? Just look at something that really matters to you. Maybe the sun, maybe the sky, maybe the cloud, maybe a tree, maybe a person, maybe a child, an animal, it doesn't matter what. Just look at it, putting your hands together for 10–12 minutes at a stretch, you will see half your anxiety will start settling down. Because essentially the conflict is, there are two dimensions within you. I don't want to go into an elaborate description of this, because the yogic physiology goes elaborately into this. But to put it simply, even in modern medical science is telling you there's a right brain and a left brain, all right? Just put these two things together. Look at with utmost love and appreciation towards something that matters to you. It could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your child, a tree, a dog, sky, sun, moon, whatever. Every one of them are vital for your life, isn't it so? Yes? Whatever you can relate to. Putting these two things together, just look at them with utmost pleasantness that you can generate, recognizing how important they are for you. Many things will change. This is the first form of yoga. If I do this, it'll become difficult. And there are many ways to do namaskar, like this, like that, like that. This is the most simple thing. Start here, okay? Adolescence means springtime of life. If you're having trouble with spring, I can imagine how you'll handle your winters. Hello? Huh? It's a springtime of life. When everything is high energy, your body is at its best. If you're having trouble dealing with that part of your life, I can imagine the rest of your life how you will handle. This is not any one age. Maybe studies are being done on specific people, but toddlers have diaper issues, adolescents have hormonal issues, middle-aged people have crisis, old age, sold to pharmaceuticals. When you are young, you bought drugs off the back street. When you're older, it's over the counter. Nothing much has changed, it's just become legal. Everything is becoming legal, you know. Hello? Lot of things which were not legal are becoming legal, isn't it? So, this is not to make a joke out of somebody's suffering, but you need to understand what's happening. There are many, many dimensions to this. I don't think I can cover all of them in these few minutes, but to just put some perspective to you. See, there are 5 sources of receptivity for you from the outside world. There are 5 openings: your vision, your hearing, your smell, your taste and your touch. The simplest aspect of life is this. Essentially, your eyes are designed to take 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness. Starlight, moonlight, okay. Now, literally every waking moment of your life, light is penetrating. No room. And sounds, just imagine, suppose you lived in the same place, it is still here like this. If you stay in the ashram, it's still quiet. If you lived here, once in a way some noise happened. Otherwise, generally quiet, little bit of insects making noise, this, that's about it. Now 24 hours something is going on. Automobiles are going on. In United States, everywhere there is some machine buzzing all the time. It's like, you know, if I travel here for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it becomes like boom, something is going on. In any building you sit, something is going on. When I go back to ashram in India, if I sit there, it's still like that, absolutely still. The impact that it has on your system is tremendous. But this buzzing that's going on, see, it's going on even here. I'm still holding my ground, I don't know, without telling me, they might have already installed. I said, no air conditioners in the ashram, in the cottages. Why I'm saying this is, you come to a yoga center because you want to bring your system to a certain level of stability, balance. Because without balance, doesn't matter what talents you have, what intelligence you have, what capabilities you have, without balance, you are no good. All these things will work against you. Your own intelligence will work against you. So, all the time there is sound and vibrations going on, as if that's not enough. People are wearing headphones and all the time, dang, 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 dang. They call it music, but the musician doesn't even bother to play it, it's just a machine, banging in your ears all the time. Well, maybe that's better than listening to people around you. Maybe you think it's better than the automobile noises that surround you, but non-stop impact of sound, non-stop impact of light, non-stop impact of various other inputs, this affects everybody. And adolescence means they are molting literally from one stage to another quickly. This is the time when there should have been a very stable atmosphere. Most people don't have such a stable atmosphere. One thing is because of various things that I already mentioned. Family situations are not stable, parents are also screaming. Hello? Yes, they are. Because every movie, every television show, everything is showing in the house. If you're angry, you must shout, you must punch the door. If not somebody, at least you must punch something, you must break something. This is becoming the norm. Everybody thinks that's a way to handle your emotion. Hello? It is. Examples are being set, people think that's the way to handle your emotion. No, if your emotion going out of control, shut up, close your eyes and just sit down in one place, huh? Yes, that's a way to handle your emotion. If your emotion is going out of control, just shut your mouth, close your eyes, sit down in one place, don't mess with the rest of the world. Hello? At least this much responsibility you must have. When you are messed up, you don't mess the world. Keep it to yourself, your mess. That much you must have, isn't it? Now everywhere people are demonstrating that if you are emotional, you have to kick something, you have to break something, you have to throw something at somebody or at least at the wall. So all this, and tell me, suppose there was no television and there was no cinema, how many times in your life would you have witnessed somebody being shot? But now that you're watching your cinema and television, how many shootings have you seen? Hundreds, thousands probably, isn't it? You think it has no impact? Not only that, from the age of 5, all they learn is shooting, 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 shooting. Maybe just on the screen, but sometime they have to come off the screen and do the real thing. Yes or no? Now, like this I can go on, endless number of things we are doing in the name of so-called modern life, which is a way of messing life. Every life is messed, not just adolescence. Because adolescents are still on your hands, you're complaining. Parents are complaining because they're still on their hands. Once they go out, their husbands and wives are complaining. Nobody listens to them. Hello? The same brats have gone out and married and made children and everything. Hello? Yes or no? Maybe with age, if they become little less energetic, or at least in the evening they drink and they're in hibernation. Either they're out somewhere earning their living, when they come home they're in hibernation. That way everybody's safe. But this is not the way to conduct life. Even if you're exuberantly alive, you should not be damaging to any life around you. That's life. Hello? The only way to see that you're not dangerous is that you're sedated. That's not a good life. Hello? Now, this is a phase of life when changes are happening so rapidly. All these impacts which are on every life on the planet, not just human life, every life on the planet, maybe plays up a little more in the adolescent, or maybe it's just the same as you. It is just that you thought they're your little sweetie pies. Now they're showing genetic qualities. If a smaller version of you is like that, you must look. One simple thing is this: if every human being knows simply how to sit still, just a few minutes a day, no great spiritual sadhana, nothing, simply sitting still. If this can happen, world will change in many ways. But still we have to handle these inputs. These inputs are too many. In your homes, you can do this. Where I live, most of the time I will never turn on the lights unless I want to read something or whatever. You will see, your eyes will adjust and you're able to move about, everything is fine. Or if you need something, a couple of lamps will take care of that little bit of light that you need to move around. All the time bright lights on, it is telling on your system. The input is too much. For your eyes, for your ears, you must bring down the input. See, if you had to see colors, you had to wait for the sunset, sit there and wait. Then one spectacular color arose, but if you're looking at your phone, it went away. But today you turn on the television, every goddamn color in the universe is just going on and on and on endlessly. All this has immense impact. Light, sound, color. If you lower the input into your life and to your child's life, one way or the other, do whatever you have to do, you will see they will grow up in a much more balanced way. This is the simple thing you can do. For the adolescents, this has to be brought forth, little bit of Hatha Yoga. Most of them will go through this phase of their life effortlessly.
The first time I came to United States, wherever I went, I heard this term, stress management. I could not understand. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us. Our families, our businesses, our money, our property, whatever is precious to us, we will manage that. Why would somebody want to manage stress? I couldn't get it for some time. Then I realized people have made a conclusion that stress is an extra limb that they have in their body. Stress is an appendage that they cannot get rid of. Stress is not a part of you. You get stressful because you do not know how to handle your mind. No attention has been paid as to how to handle this mind, how to handle this emotion, how to handle this body, how to handle these energies. Nothing has been done about it. You're managing such a sophisticated system accidentally. So you being stressful is a natural outcome of such unconscious living. There is no other way to be. Don't think your job is stressful.
Now you're a student. Being a student is stressful. If you don't find employment when you come out of the college, that is stressful. If you get a job, even more stressful. If you don't get married, that is very stressful. If you get married, I don't want to say anything. If you don't have children, that is stressful. If you have children, you pull your hair out with stress. So, it is not your job or your life situations which are stressful. Stress is happening to you because of your inability to manage your own system. Not knowing how to manage the system is stressfulness. If this happened the way you want it, you wouldn't be stressful. If you do simple inner engineering process, just 21 minutes a day. Today you take your pulse rate before and after food. Do it for 6 weeks, check your pulse rate and see, it will be considerably down. Which essentially shows, with the same level of activity, this is a simple indicator. There are many other parameters that you could check. But this is an extremely simple indicator for which you don't have to go to any laboratory, you can check it yourself. The lowering of the pulse with the same level of activity indicates that your system is going at an easier pace. That means it's working much more efficiently. If you drive your car at 2000 RPM, the engine may last 100,000 kilometers or miles. If you drive the same engine at 5000 RPM, it may last only 50,000 miles or less, simply because it's unnecessarily revved up. So if this can do everything that it has to do at an easy pace, that means it is happening efficiently. Any machine which has least amount of friction within itself happens efficiently, naturally produces more with least amount of stress. It is definitely time you do some inner engineering.
Does that explain the fears from the other ideology, ideas, thoughts, the anxiety and stress from the future and the prominent is now a prominent feature of a human being in 21st century? How did big part of people nowadays got trapped in this vicious circle of frustration, misery and collective rage?
See, if you look at it, what happens within a human being is entirely caused by him or her within themselves. Your joy and misery happens within you. Pain and pleasure happens within you. Right now, actually, even what is light and darkness happens only within you. Because what is light for you is darkness for some other creature. This is all the way it is happening within us, or in other words, the very basis of your experience is within you. When the very basis of experience is within you, should you not determine what is the nature of your experience? If you did determine what is the nature of your experience, would you make it pleasant or unpleasant for yourself? Definitely pleasant. If there is a choice right now within you either to be blissful or stressful or miserable, what's your choice? Definitely to be blissful. So this ability to exercise this choice is something that we have not spread across in the society. We have not brought this into our children's lives. We have not made this a part of our education, that the most important thing for a human being is that you are a wonderful human being. If you are a wonderful human being, when you are feeling wonderful within yourself, you naturally do wonderful things to everybody. When you are feeling horrible within yourself, you will do horrible things to other people. And every human being can notice this. When they're happy, if you meet them, they are wonderful people. If you meet them when they're miserable, angry, frustrated, whatever else, they can be nasty human beings. So this dimension of life has been neglected in our eagerness to develop our economies, to exploit the world, do whatever. We are busy fixing the world. Yes, world needs to be fixed to some extent. But we think by fixing the world, everything will be all right. No, we also need to fix this human being. Fixing this human being means we have all gotten committed to individual identities and prejudices. From the simple aspect of gender, we are the same species, but gender has become like two different species. Nations, ideologies, race, religion, all kinds of things have divided and fractured humanity in so many different ways. It is time that we instill this in our children and the future generations, that life happens as one big whole. But it is the magnanimity of the creation that it gives us an individual experience, but actually it's happening as one whole. Either we understand this now, or we will anyway get it when we are buried. When we are buried, we all become part of the land. Same soil, isn't it?
Yes.